financial reports, check ledger. Let's say you've done anything.
No, I didn't have any.
Fine.
I came in, went through the text, didn't really have any questions or anything that came up.
Okay. I saw the Chromebooks on there, so the question is that's all in this one anyways, there's nothing in previous, it's just right here.
And I got a question on our student fees, Mary. 292. We had
You're on
we have
those.
a 30,000 this year, it was 20,000 last year, and the next one, it's not big dollars, but it's 16,000 versus 14,000, or 163%. I'm just curious, have we budgeted inadequately, or?
No, with the student fees, the one-to-one fees, there are an awful lot of fees turned in for all the repair work and everything that they're doing, so most of that was fines for kids for damage. And the one-to-one extracurricular, I think we had it's really a couple thousand. We're putting summer band in each of the right years, but I think we got more money in summer band this year than we did last year.
Anything to note, Chris, on the expenses or revenues?
The only thing I would point out is that the revenues are just actually a little bit higher than what we had anticipated. Kind of touched on that a little bit with some of the student revenue pieces.
Okay, so last month we went over the movements of money around. How did that match your final 16,382? You're going off 16,197. Therefore, we have an extra 180 laying around somewhere.
There probably is some extra cash that we probably just, I don't say cash, but extra funds.
Yeah.
Revenue that would just roll into the regular fund balance.
Okay.
I mean,
So
understand.
I'm just trying to figure out. So this is in excess of what you had last time.
Right.
Okay.
And understand that the audit, the financial auditing team is here this week,
Right.
and there may be some adjustments yet. So,
180-year end statement.
stemming from legislative changes in the spring session, the legislature really tightened up on its verbiage as far as what Fund 80 expenses can be used for, especially for districts that are levying in Fund 80. Part of that then is the auditing teams that are going out to districts are required to double check that districts have a board statement as far as what Fund 80 dollars are going to be used for. And so that's what this statement is for, relative to Fund 80. Yeah, the statement, and then just the general projections of revenues and expenses from the last fiscal year. And don't be overly concerned about the profit loss thing, because remember there's a $110,000 fund balance in Fund 80, and we were directed last year you can start spending some of that down rather than carrying it over year after year after year. So, like I said, I realize the revenues weren't quite in line with the expenses, but we had that question there.
Okay, my question would be, if you have a continuing high fund balance, and we're limited, but what Mary's saying of putting it towards things that when we're doing things like the nets or the basketball thing, how are you ever going to spend $110?
That's a good question.
The state law says that we can't raise money from taxpayers for certain reasons, but there's got to be a way we can pay this down towards the expense of taxpayers.
Charge less fees.
That'd probably be the only way to do it is just
We've
lower
got
the user
several,
fees.
Susie brought up that she's got a lot of families that currently have asked for discounts on, excuse me, on the fees and didn't know how to proceed with that, so
Okay.
there are some people struggling with those fees.
Well, I would say we should look at that. Right? The other thing I think we should be looking at is supplementing the students' costs, not necessarily the adult costs on some of these things. Bring the whole thing down a little bit, but the whole purpose of the Fund 80 originally was the summer. And this morphed into what we have now, which is called rec program. but I'd like to see the student cost, for example, babysitting, which would be a great service for the community. The fee for that should be almost nothing if you get kids certified to babysit. You know, that's what I'm kind of thinking of. So, we think about.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, or even looking at the fees throughout the school year, those registration fees. and things like that.
Yeah. And the other thing would be obviously to look at ways that we can spend this for things that we can use. The exterior that would participate, you know, big participation is the rec program. So, I guess the word is that would be something good.
Okay, thank you. The statement in and of itself doesn't even move forward to the full board for action.
Okay. I have a motion moving forward.
Okay.
OPEB, investment statement.
When we first got into OPEB back in 2012, I believe, is that summer that we started those accounts. The committee had agreed to the investment policy. It's just a matter of bringing this back to you for review again. Basically discussing the different funds that are available to us, the processes that are used, who's responsible, that type of thing. I just wanted to get that in front of you before I sign off on it again, just for informational purposes too.
Yeah, refresh everybody's memory for new folks. What was our current allocation?
We were in the moderate level. What we've done though, the initial direction from the committee was go moderate, okay? What we have done though is we have released some funds into the more, I guess, conservative area because we're gonna need those funds. Yeah, for payouts, exactly. So there is a chunk of money that was transitioned to the more conservative piece just because of pending payouts due to retirements.
So does this need to be just signed off on? Do we need to go forward? Need to be approved?
It's up to you. Honestly, a couple of years ago, I just signed off on it because the committee approved the whole concept and directed me as to
We're
what.
not modifying anything, so I don't see
Yeah.
why we reapprove what we already approved.
I'm fine if you want to forward it ahead to the full board to act on tonight too, though. It's really your decision.
And what do you think, Don? I mean, I think we should probably just say until the district administrator brings something different to our knowledge and reason to change our allocation, that I don't see a reason that we should do any kind of modification until some modification is needed. Therefore, we just continue what we
Right,
have.
this is the same thing.
Yeah, so I guess, so I would say we just sign off on it and we just stay where we are.
Okay.
Based on what we read the document.
Yeah. Lunch milk prices.
The recommendation for action later at the special board meeting is to, basically what we're looking at is a three-tiered pricing piece. And so the elementary lunches would be divided into two parts, essentially a K3, which would go up a dime from last year, regular prices, then creating another tier for the older kids because their quantity size would be increasing, or their serving size, if you will. And then the middle school price would be at $265. So you have three prices: $240, $250, $240 and $250 for elementary, $265 for middle school, and then the adult prices also go up a dime. And then, as I foreshadowed at a previous meeting, the milk prices will also be going up a dime just because of cost. So
Goes up to what now?
milk will be $35. And this is consistent with the RFP bid that Tucker had provided to the board, so there aren't any adjustments from it.
Okay, and there are RFP bid where these prices indicated already as we increase.
They were.
So if we don't increase them, we're increasing them.
You are. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. In that case, I guess I would motion that we increase them to the recommended level. And then let Tucker figure out what the portion sizes are. Anybody else looking at that? So I would assume therefore Tucker is going to come forth at one point and show us a menu of what the new approved menu, not including yeah, FDA is going to be.
at some point, I have asked them, I've told them that the group would like to present with an update.
Yeah.
I can tell you, based on my most recent conversation with them on Friday, that they've actually identified or hired someone that'll be with us part-time, and that person is outside of the bid that they gave us, or the costing that they've given us. And that person's responsibility is going to be to promote and really have build relationships with kids and parents, to be responsive to what they want to eat, or promote new foods on the menus and that type of thing. So I thought that was I was happily surprised to hear that.
I'd like to see if that person could hold meetings that we would announce for parents that are interested in talking about healthy foods, incorporating, because I know there was a group of parents a year or two ago that were interested in locally grown fruits and vegetables being included in the mix. And of course, with the FDA changes, everything is getting towards boxed everything.
Okay.
So it'd be nice if at least they had something with their discussing.
It's interesting you brought that up, because and I'm going to forward what you just shared. I'll pass it back on to Todd. In the conversation on Friday, the suggestion was made that maybe this person can also have like an advisory committee or some sort of parent group to meet with periodically, just to find out how it's going, should we make any adjustments, that type of thing.
Yeah.
They're going to think set up the open houses for their teacher conferences.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
When you talk to them, they were going to respond to that, to the survey.
Yeah, there's about, I want to say, 180 responses. And for the most part, I guess the responses that you had a choice or multiple choice to answer, to me, were fairly predictable. The narrative pieces that the people gave is, my kids are hungry, they'd like to have more food. Please provide more food that my kids would want to eat, and be sure you're still providing fresh vegetables. You can see fresh fruits, it's more so emphasis on fruits than vegetables. So those were the three key things from the survey.
Okay, anybody have anything else? All right, I guess what, LTD insurance?
Yes, the long-term disability insurance for employees, the premium cost came back high as far as a percentage increase. Our insurance broker recommended that we put it out for bids. And so he went ahead and did that, and then he came back, met with Mary and me, I want to say it was last week, maybe it was, I think it was last week. And he's recommending that we go with the NIS company, because basically they matched the parameters of the existing program that's been in place for many, many years here in Waterford graded, and the actual premium cost is less with this company than what we were paying with our current company. I also provided to you a number of school districts that use NIS here in southeastern Wisconsin as far as a reference base.
Okay, so should we go with NIS?
Makes sense to me when I look at the numbers.
I would agree. Go with that one. Okay, other information updates from the description if necessary.
The two informational updates pieces. First off, Associated Bank approached us about extending their contract with us to be our financial institution. They initially, if you remember a few years ago when we bid it out, they signed a 3-year contract with us. So right now they're in the 3rd year of their 3-year contract. They'd like to extend the contract. They will be coming in next week to meet with Mary and I to discuss that. But I just want to foreshadow for you, I've been pleased with how that's gone, number one, and number two, we stayed with someone local, if you recall. So unless there's feedback now as far as the conversation with them, I'm planning on proceeding ahead as far as the renewal. There hasn't been any reason whatsoever to, been really good to work
Yeah,
with.
that works fine for me.
Okay. And then the second piece is, if you recall, a year ago, I approached the committee about an employee benefit that Sam's Club was offering. Basically, that the employer would buy up memberships and give them to employees. And so Sam's Club approached me again. Basically, the offering is $47.48 per membership, but they would also then give us a $10 gift card for each membership. And then come October, they would give us $1,000 in teacher rewards for supplies or what have you. I know last year the group's sentiment was we really didn't want to get into that. And I just want to run it past you again if that's your same thought.
Well, the question, I really don't want to get into it, but add up the numbers there, so we're down to 38 something per membership, once you give us a $10 thing.
Right.
So then you've got $1,000 spread over $38. So it's got to cover it. What's that going to want to do? 30 memberships? Approximately 30 memberships. We have only teaching staff.
About 115, between 110 and 115.
Okay, so 60 people, almost $40 a piece for us. So it seems like it'd be a net loss to the district. I mean, I can't imagine. I don't think anybody's rushing in saying you have to have Santa's Club.
It's a definite cost.
That's not cost to the district. If it was employees saying, hey, this would be great, like we have that extra plan for housing or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It will cost, something that employees can use. I can't see where we're promoting one person over another at Sam's Club is either Racine or Waterford, either pick. So I would have to say I'm not.
And the piece is that understand if you did allow Sam's Club to come in and do that, you're opening the door to other companies that we would have to honor too. You just can't, for the most part, exclusively say, no, Sam's Club is it.
See if it was that positive to our district, but it's
Or what if they're regarding that?
I mean, if there was a Sam's Club down the street,
Yeah.
you could show it as a real employee benefit and something like that, that'd be one thing, but it seems kind of a stretch.
Yeah. It would be nice to offer it to them, but like you said, if it was close, now they're driving one way or the other, so they can go see.
That might be the 40 bucks.
All right, thank you.
Anything else?
No.
All right, Mr. Adjourned.
Second.
Adjourned on that.